I had always been one for solitude, finding comfort in my own company and the quiet of my thoughts. Social gatherings were a chore, a cacophony of noise and superficial interactions that drained my energy. Yet when Zoya called, practically begging me to accompany her to her friend's birthday party, I found myself unable to refuse. Her persistence was legendary, and I had learned long ago that resistance was futile. "Ileana, you need to get out more," Zoya said, her voice a mix of exasperation and concern. "You can't spend all your time cooped up in that apartment, reading and working. Come on, it'll be fun. Besides, you might meet someone interesting." "I doubt it," I replied, rolling my eyes even though she couldn't see me through the phone. "But fine, I'll go. Just don't expect me to be the life of the party." The venue was a trendy loft in the heart of the city, bustling with people and laughter. The walls were adorned with fairy lights, casting a warm glow over the room. I followed Zoya through the crowd, feeling like a fish out of water. She was in her element, greeting friends and introducing me to everyone we passed. "Ileana, this is Gabriel," Zoya said, pulling me towards a tall, dark-haired man who exuded a quiet confidence. "Gabriel, meet my best friend, Ileana." "Nice to meet you, Ileana," Gabriel said, his voice smooth and deep like honey. He extended his hand, and as our fingers touched, a jolt of electricity shot through me. "Nice to meet you too," I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. Gabriel smiled, a small, knowing smile that made my heart skip a beat. "So how do you know Zoya?" "We went to college together," I replied, trying to sound casual. "She's been my best friend ever since." "Ah, Zoya has a knack for finding the best people," Gabriel said, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "She's always surrounded by interesting characters." "Interesting is one way to put it," I said, laughing nervously. As the night wore on, Gabriel and I found ourselves drawn to each other, our conversations flowing effortlessly. We talked about everything: our favorite books, our dreams, our fears. I learned that he was married, a fact that should have created a barrier but instead seemed to bring us closer. He spoke about his wife with a hint of sadness, suggesting that their relationship was not as perfect as it seemed. "Marriage is complicated," he said, looking down at his drink. "Sometimes, despite your best efforts, things just don't work out." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said softly, unsure of what else to say. "It's okay," he replied, his eyes meeting mine. "Sometimes you meet someone who changes everything. Someone who makes you realize what you've been missing." I felt a blush creep up my cheeks, and I quickly looked away, not trusting myself to respond. The connection between us was undeniable, and I knew I was treading dangerous waters. As the party drew to a close, Gabriel and I exchanged numbers, both of us pretending it was purely for friendship's sake. But deep down, we knew it was more than that. Over the next few weeks, our interactions became more frequent, our bond growing stronger with each passing day. One evening, we met at a quiet cafe away from prying eyes. The atmosphere was intimate, with dim lighting and soft music playing in the background. "How are you holding up?" Gabriel asked, his concern genuine. "I'm okay," I replied, though my voice betrayed my uncertainty. "It's just, this feels so right, but also so wrong." "I know," he said, reaching across the table to take my hand. "But sometimes, the right thing isn't always the easiest thing." "I just don't want to hurt anyone," I said, my voice trembling. "Neither do I," he said softly. "But I also believe that we deserve to be happy, and being with you makes me happier than I've been in a long time." His words resonated with me, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a glimmer of hope. We were taking a risk, but it was a risk we were willing to take for the chance at true happiness. Eventually, Gabriel left his wife, and we got married in a small, intimate ceremony surrounded by our closest friends. We believed that love would conquer all, that we could create our own happiness despite the shadows of our pasts. Little did we know that the real challenges were only just beginning. Marriage brought a new chapter in my life, one filled with both joy and unforeseen challenges. Gabriel was my anchor, always steady and reliable, especially when it came to my memory issues. I had always struggled with remembering things, a condition that sometimes turned daily life into a maze of forgotten tasks and misplaced items. Gabriel's patience was a gift, but even his unwavering support couldn't erase my insecurities. One morning, as I stood in the kitchen staring at the open refrigerator, trying to remember why I had come there, Gabriel walked in. He saw the confusion on my face and gently touched my shoulder. "Ileana, what are you looking for?" he asked softly, his voice filled with concern. I don't remember," I replied, my frustration evident. "I know I came here for something, but I can't recall what." Gabriel smiled, a warm and reassuring smile that made me feel safe. "It's okay. Why don't we go through it together? Maybe it'll jog your memory." We went through the possibilities, and eventually, I remembered I needed to get the milk for our morning coffee. Gabriel's patience was a balm to my frayed nerves, but it also highlighted my dependency on him, which often left me feeling inadequate. My learning difficulties compounded these issues. I had always struggled to process information the way others did, and this often left me feeling like I was constantly playing catch-up. Gabriel, however, never made me feel less. He celebrated my small victories and comforted me through my frustrations. One evening, as I sat at the dining table, buried under a pile of notes for a course I was taking, Gabriel came in with a cup of tea. He placed it gently next to my stack of papers and sat down across from me. "How's the studying going?" he asked, his eyes filled with genuine interest. "It's challenging," I admitted, feeling the weight of my inadequacies pressing down on me. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm just not cut out for this." Gabriel reached across the table, taking my hand in his. "Ileana, you're one of the smartest people I know. Just because you learn differently doesn't mean you're not capable. You've got this, and I believe in you." His words were like a lifeline, pulling me out of the sea of self-doubt I was drowning in. Despite my struggles, I knew I could count on Gabriel to be my support, my rock. Yet there were times when I felt like a burden, and it was during these moments that I urged him to think of himself first. One night, as we lay in bed, I turned to him, my heart heavy with the fear of holding him back. "Gabriel, you need to take care of yourself too," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want my struggles to drag you down." He looked at me, his eyes filled with love and determination. "Ileana, we're a team. Your struggles are my struggles. I'm not going anywhere." "I know, but sometimes I feel like I'm too much," I admitted, tears welling up in my eyes. "I don't want you to save me at the cost of your own happiness." Gabriel gently wiped away my tears and pulled me close. "We'll find our happiness together, Ileana. Saving you doesn't mean losing myself. It means building a life where we both thrive." His words were a promise, one that he kept every day. But despite his reassurances, there were moments of doubt and fear that lingered in the corners of my mind. The pressure of not wanting to be a burden weighed heavily on me, and I often found myself trying to push through my challenges alone, not wanting to add to his worries. One particularly rough day, I had forgotten an important appointment and felt the crushing weight of my failure. When Gabriel came home that evening, he found me sitting on the couch, tears streaming down my face. "Ileana, what's wrong?" he asked, rushing to my side. "I missed my appointment," I sobbed. "I set a reminder and everything, but I still forgot. I'm such a failure." Gabriel pulled me into his arms, holding me tightly. "You are not a failure. You're human, and humans make mistakes. We'll reschedule the appointment, and it'll be okay." "But I keep forgetting things, Gabriel," I said, my voice choked with frustration. "I don't know how you put up with me." He lifted my chin, making me look into his eyes. "I put up with you because I love you, Ileana. Your memory issues don't define you. You are so much more than that, and I see it every day." His unwavering belief in me was both a comfort and a challenge. It pushed me to be better, to fight against my insecurities and embrace the support he offered. Our love was a journey, one filled with both smooth paths and rocky terrains. But with Gabriel by my side, I knew we could navigate it together, hand in hand. The arrival of our second child brought a profound joy that was tinged with exhaustion and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. Motherhood had always been a part of my dream, but the reality of it was far more demanding than I had ever imagined. Gabriel was an amazing father, deeply involved and always ready to help, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing myself. As the months went by, I watched my body change in ways I hadn't anticipated. The weight I gained during pregnancy lingered, and despite my best efforts, I struggled to reclaim my pre-pregnancy shape. The mirror became an enemy, reflecting back at me a woman I barely recognized. My confidence dwindled, and I felt increasingly isolated in my insecurities. One evening, as I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, scrutinizing every flaw, Gabriel walked in. He saw the look on my face and immediately knew what I was thinking. "Ileana, you're beautiful," he said, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "I don't feel beautiful," I replied, my voice tinged with frustration. "I feel like a stranger in my own body. I've lost my shape, my confidence. I don't even know who I am anymore." Gabriel turned me around to face him, his eyes filled with love and concern. "You're the woman I love, the mother of our children. Your body has done something incredible. Give yourself time and be kind to yourself." Despite his words, the distance between us grew. Our conversations became strained, filled with misunderstandings and unspoken fears. Small arguments erupted over trivial matters, each one a symptom of the deeper issues we were both too afraid to confront. One night, after putting the kids to bed, we sat in the living room, the silence between us heavy and uncomfortable. I decided to address the elephant in the room. "Gabriel, do you still find me attractive?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He looked at me, surprised and pained by my question. "Ileana, of course I do." "Why would you even ask that?" "Because I don't feel attractive," I admitted, tears welling up in my eyes. "I feel like I've lost everything that made me desirable, and it's affecting us." Gabriel moved closer, taking my hands in his. "Ileana, you're still the same amazing woman I fell in love with. Yes, things have changed, but that doesn't make you any less beautiful or desirable to me. We're just going through a tough phase, and we'll get through it together." In an attempt to reclaim some semblance of myself, I decided to join a dance class. Dance had always been a passion of mine, something I had put on the back burner during the chaos of life. The first few classes were daunting. My body felt foreign, and I was constantly self-conscious. But slowly, I began to find my rhythm. Dance became an escape, a way to reconnect with myself and my confidence. One afternoon, after a particularly invigorating class, I came home feeling more like myself than I had in months. Gabriel noticed the change immediately. "You look happy," he said, smiling as I walked through the door. "I am," I replied, my eyes sparkling with newfound energy. "Dance is helping me find myself again. I feel alive." Gabriel's smile widened, but there was a flicker of something else in his eyes, concern, perhaps even fear. "I'm glad, Ileana, I really am. Just promise me one thing." "What's that?" I asked, my curiosity piqued. "Don't let this new world of yours pull you away from us," he said, his voice soft but earnest. "I don't want to lose you to something that makes you happy." "You won't lose me," I assured him, squeezing his hand. "Dance is a part of me, but it doesn't change how much I love you and our family." Despite my reassurances, our relationship continued to be tested. Gabriel struggled with my newfound passion, feeling excluded and insecure. We fought often, not about his new mentor or my dance classes, but about the changes within me. I was growing, finding a new identity, and he felt left behind. One evening, after a particularly heated argument, I decided to perform in a dance showcase. I knew it was important for Gabriel to see this part of my life, to understand what it meant to me. As I took the stage, I spotted him in the audience, his eyes filled with a mix of pride and apprehension. The performance was a turning point. Gabriel saw my passion and dedication, and it rekindled something within him. After the show, he came up to me, his eyes shining with admiration. "Ileana, that was incredible," he said, pulling me into a tight embrace. "I had no idea you were so talented. I'm so proud of you." "Thank you, Gabriel," I said, tears of relief and joy streaming down my face. I needed you to see this to understand why it's so important to me. I do, he replied, his voice choked with emotion. And I'm sorry for making you feel like you had to choose. Love and effort can lead us to great things, Ileana. We just need to trust each other. That night, we talked for hours, more honestly than we had in months. We acknowledged our fears and insecurities, promising to support each other no matter what. Our love had been tested, but it had also grown stronger. We realized that together, we could face anything, as long as we remembered to dance through life hand in hand. Rediscovering myself through dance was like finding a long-lost part of my soul. The studio became my sanctuary, a place where I could let go of all my insecurities and just be. Each session, I felt a little more like the woman I used to be, confident and vibrant. The music, the movements, the camaraderie of fellow dancers, it all contributed to my healing process. One afternoon, after a particularly invigorating class, I sat in the corner of the studio, catching my breath and reveling in the endorphin rush. My instructor, a graceful woman in her 40s with an infectious passion for dance, approached me with a smile. Ileana, you're making incredible progress, she said, her eyes sparkling with pride. You have a natural talent. Thank you, Nana, I replied, feeling a warm glow of pride. Dance has been such a lifeline for me. It's helping me find myself again. That's the magic of dance, Anna said, sitting beside me. It connects you to your true self. Keep pushing, Ileana. You're capable of so much more. Her words stayed with me, fueling my determination to keep growing and improving. Yet, as I found more of myself in the studio, I sensed a growing tension at home. Gabriel was supportive, but I could tell he felt left out of this new world I was immersing myself in. One evening after I returned from class, I found Gabriel in the kitchen, preparing dinner. The aroma of spices filled the air, but his expression was clouded with worry. How was class? He asked, stirring a pot absent-mindedly. It was amazing, I said, leaning against the counter. Anna thinks I'm making great progress. That's wonderful, he said, but his voice lacked enthusiasm. What's wrong, Gabriel? I asked, stepping closer. I can tell something's bothering you. He sighed, setting down the spoon and turning to face me. It's just, I feel like I'm losing you to this new world. You're so passionate about dance, and I'm proud of you, but I can't help feeling left out. I'm sorry you feel that way, I said, taking his hands in mine. Dance is helping me rediscover myself, but it doesn't change how much I love you and our family. I need you to understand that. I'm trying, Ileana, he said, his eyes filled with vulnerability. But it's hard. I don't want to lose what we have. You won't lose me, I promised, squeezing his hands. We'll find a balance. Just trust me. Despite our reassurances, the tension lingered. Gabriel's insecurities and my newfound independence created an emotional distance between us. We continued to argue, often about trivial matters that masked our deeper fears. One evening, after a particularly heated exchange, I decided it was time to bridge the gap. Gabriel, we need to talk, I said, my voice firm yet gentle. We were in the living room, the kids asleep upstairs. He looked up from his book, his expression wary. About what? About us, I said, sitting beside him. I don't want to keep fighting. We need to find a way to reconnect. I agree, he said, setting the book aside. I hate feeling like we're drifting apart. Me too, I said, taking a deep breath. I want you to be part of my world, to understand why dance means so much to me. And I want to understand what's going on with you, what's causing these insecurities. Gabriel looked down, his shoulders slumping. I guess I'm just scared. You're growing, finding new passions, and I feel stuck. I don't want to hold you back, but I also don't want to be left behind. You're not stuck, Gabriel, I said, lifting his chin to meet his gaze. We're both evolving, and that's okay. But we need to communicate, to support each other. Maybe you could come to one of my classes, see what it's all about. I'd like that, he said, a small smile playing on his lips. And I want to share more of my world with you two. My new mentor has been pushing me to explore new ideas, and I'd love to have you involved. Let's make a pact, I said, holding out my hand. to support each other's passions, to communicate openly, and to always make time for us. Deal, he said, shaking my hand with a chuckle. We're in this together. The next week, Gabriel came to one of my dance classes. Watching from the sidelines, he saw the joy and freedom dance brought me. After the class, he approached me with a newfound understanding. I get it now, he said, his eyes filled with admiration. You're incredible out there, Ileana. Thank you, Gabriel, I said, pulling him into a hug. It means so much to me that you're here. And I want you to come to one of my meetings with my mentor, he said. I think you'll find it fascinating. We started to integrate more of each other's worlds into our lives, finding a balance that allowed us both to thrive. Our relationship grew stronger as we learned to support and celebrate each other's passions. One evening, after a particularly inspiring meeting with Gabriel's mentor, we sat on the couch, a sense of peace settling over us. You know, Gabriel said, his arm around my shoulders, love and effort really can lead us to great things. Yes, they can, I agreed, leaning into him. And as long as we remember that, we can face anything together. Rediscovering myself had been a journey, but it was one that brought us closer. We learned that growth didn't have to mean growing apart, and that with love and effort, we could navigate any challenge life threw our way. The journey of rediscovery brought Gabriel and me closer together, but it was an ongoing process, a delicate dance of love and effort. With each step we took, we learned to navigate the complexities of our relationship, finding strength in our vulnerabilities and joy in our shared passions. Dance, which had initially been my sanctuary, became a shared space where we both found solace and connection. One evening, as I prepared for another dance class, Gabriel approached me with a thoughtful expression. Ileana, he began, hesitating slightly. I've been thinking, would you teach me to dance? His request took me by surprise. Gabriel had always been supportive of my dancing, but had never expressed a desire to join in. You want to learn to dance? Yes, he said, his eyes earnest. I want to understand more of your world and share in your joy. Besides, it could be fun, right? A warm feeling spread through me at his words. I'd love to teach you, Gabriel. It means a lot that you want to share this with me. We started with simple steps. Our living room transformed into an impromptu dance studio. Gabriel was a quick learner, his natural rhythm and athleticism shining through. We laughed and stumbled through the basics, finding joy in the process of learning together. Okay, let's try this step again, I said, demonstrating a simple waltz move. It's all about the timing and flow. Gabriel watched intently, then mimicked my movements. Like this. Exactly, I said, smiling at his progress. You're getting it. He grinned, pulling me closer as we continued to dance. This is actually fun. I can see why you love it so much. As we danced, our connection deepened. It was as if we were learning a new language, one that required trust and communication. Each step brought us closer, both physically and emotionally. One night, after an especially successful practice session, we collapsed onto the couch, breathless and exhilarated. You're a natural, I said, resting my head on his shoulder. All thanks to my amazing teacher, he replied, kissing the top of my head. This has been incredible, Ileana. I feel more connected to you than ever. Me too, I said softly. This dance is more than just movement. It's a metaphor for our relationship, isn't it? The give and take, the trust, the communication. Gabriel nodded, his expression thoughtful. Exactly. And just like in dance, we'll have our missteps and stumbles, but as long as we keep moving together, we'll be okay. Our new routine brought a sense of harmony into our lives. Gabriel's involvement in my dance world strengthened our bond, and I found myself more engaged in his pursuits as well. We attended his mentors' meetings together, discussing new ideas and supporting each other's growth. Our relationship became a dance of love, a constant balancing act that required effort and dedication from both of us. One evening, as we sat in the audience at a dance performance, Gabriel turned to me with a thoughtful expression. Ileana, do you remember our first dance together? He asked, a smile playing on his lips. How could I forget? I replied, my heart swelling with fond memories. It was magical. He took my hand, his eyes shining with love. I want to create more moments like that. Let's keep dancing, both literally and metaphorically. Let's continue to learn and grow together no matter what. Tears of joy filled my eyes as I squeezed his hand. I couldn't agree more. As long as we're dancing through life together, I know we can face anything. Months later, we found ourselves at a dance showcase where I was set to perform. Gabrielle had been my biggest supporter throughout my preparation, attending every rehearsal and offering unwavering encouragement. As I stood backstage, nerves fluttering in my stomach, he approached me with a reassuring smile. "You're going to be amazing," he said, his eyes filled with pride. "I'm nervous," I admitted, my voice trembling slightly. "What if I mess up?" "Even if you do, that won't matter," he said, taking my hands in his. "What matters is that you're out there doing what you love. And I'll be right here, cheering you on." His words calmed my nerves, and as I took the stage, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The performance was a culmination of all my hard work and growth, a testament to the love and support that had fueled my journey. After the show, Gabriel met me backstage, his eyes shining with admiration. "You were incredible, Ileana. I'm so proud of you." "Thank you," I said, tears of happiness streaming down my face. "I couldn't have done it without you." "We're a team," he said, pulling me into a tight embrace, "and together we can achieve anything." As we walked home that night, hand in hand, I realized that our journey was far from over. There would be more challenges and triumphs, more moments of doubt and joy. But as long as we continued to dance through life together, our love would guide us. The dance of love was a constant rhythm in our lives, a beautiful and intricate movement that required effort, patience, and understanding. And with each step we took, we discovered new depths of connection and joy, proving that love and effort could indeed lead us to great things.